huge momentum switch, and that was a gamble, a risk call that paid off to create this.
And also, what a difference a year makes. When you look at that gap, when you look at the interval between Castroneves, then back to Franchitti, and you have a good graphic example of that. Part of the reason there's been a flip-flop is there's a tire change, is that they continually evolve these Firestone tires, and the Target team had a setup that blew everybody away last year, but all it takes is a little sidewall construction change, and all of a sudden that setup doesn't work anymore. Penske has pounced on it, and now they've got the setup to beat.
No question, because these guys right here, the Target Chip Ganassi cars, you said, were dominant here last year, and they don't have that magic that they have.
And Briscoe has talked time and time again. He thinks the reason they were so aggressive and why he crashed on pit lane was they were taking risks because they needed to somehow find a way to beat the Target team because they were dominant. Now it's flip-flop completely.
And Elio, who's running away with everybody right now. I mean, he's hooked up out there.
Yeah.
But he gave a lot of credit to the whole team and the preparation before you came to this track, how they were prepared to say, we have to be better at Motegi this year, and they are.
Well, they figured out where their weak link was, and they fixed it.
Elio has clinched the 2 bonus points for leading the most laps at Motegi. That helps his teammate Will Power by taking points away from Dario. Now, we talked earlier in the show about how Dario will be going for back-to-back championships, and that has not happened very often. Only once in the IZOD IndyCar Series history, Sam Hornish Jr. in 2001 and 2002, as we look at Marco Andretti, who has been running in or near the top 10 all afternoon, and he is currently in 10th. And look at the 4 Andretti Autosport drivers all in the top 10. Sam Hornish Jr., the only IZOD IndyCar Series back-to-back champion, but it's happened several times in 40 years. Joe Leonard, Tom Sneva, Rick Mears, Bobby Rahal, Alex Zanardi, Gilles de Ferran, and Sebastian Bourdais, who won 4 years in a row.
Andretti Autosport, just let's think back to Kentucky. They had all 4 of their cars finish in the top 10 there as well. So they have really done a great job of focusing improvement on these super speedways.
Marco running in 10th spot. Just a little more than 50 laps to go in the Indy Japan 300 that Elio Castroneves has by the and we have a caution and a car in the wall.
And I think that's Lloyd.
I think it is
yep.
too.
Boy Scouts of America car.
Wow.
Off of turn 2.
Tough day for Alex, who caused a caution when the car suddenly stopped on him and he had to be towed in, but got going again, obviously, and now has made heavy contact with the right side of the car into the turn 2 safer barrier.
It's got a fire going on the side, similar to what we saw with Simona de Silvestro.
Originally, that fire starts just when the oil tank probably broke, got onto the headers, ignited that fire, and when that flame starts, it actually, the carbon catches on fire.
Now, the big difference here is what happened with Simona when that fire started to rage was the engine was still running, and Jack had done a piece on that saying it was continuing to run and pump oil. So it continued to run and pump oil and just feed the flames. This is more typical what you would see. You kind of nonchalantly come up and spray it out, and you're good to go. But that was a unique scenario earlier in the season.
And so with regards to strategy and stops now, we're at lap 148. Everybody's going to be able to come in right now, top off, and get to the end of this thing.
Yep. They'll need a complete full load of fuel, though. They'll need to really fill it up.
A full load.
Yep.
So a key after that is take advantage of that restart. You're going to have to time that thing, pounce on everything you can to gain position on that restart.
And Robbie, the thing you're going to want to watch during these pit stops, we talked about it and we don't talk about it enough. They put marks out on the pit stall. The driver has to hit those marks exactly correctly. Not necessarily to help the tire changers, but to get that fuel to seat properly. Remember what happened to Ryan Briscoe when they weren't able to get the seat right in the redhead. and what it cost him, not Ryan Briscoe, Will Power, that is, and that was where one of the momentum shifts in terms of points. So this pit stop, everybody's got to be bringing their A game.
Okay, here's the replays now of the Alex Lloyd crash.
Oh, that looks almost identical, except this time it looks like the front, because the car did not turn at all. It almost like it let down on the front, but the lost the steering.
Yeah, big spark, and just went off at that diagonal of where it was sparking into the wall, didn't it?
I've done something similar, and that hurts.
Yeah, I can imagine. Now here are the pit stops once again.
And like Jack said, you can't place enough emphasis on the importance of just hitting your marks, carrying momentum in. Don't slow up too quick. You can't give away anything right now.
Danica has had good work on pit lane this afternoon.
Everybody's in quick. Everybody's in quick, and Helio Castroneves completes his pit stop first. He goes on to second. And Briscoe came like a rocket, guys. I wasn't down by the line, but he took the inside line, and he might have snookered Dario Franchitti. What do you think?
Yeah, he did get by Franchitti.
That was some ducking and weaving there.
Yeah, no kidding.
But Briscoe was just hooking up enough to beat Franchitti to that line. Just as you're getting out of your box, he just had a little bit more forward bite with the tires spinning, the rear tire spinning, and got him there. So I'm sure we'll hear from race control right now for these two guys to swap if what we just saw was correct on our board, and I think it was. Being those two guys right there, Franchitti to Briscoe.
Okay, look at the left of your screen. That's Danica behind Milka Duno. We're trying to maybe convince Milka to speed up just a little bit.
Yeah, but she didn't want to be on the inside of her there because Milka had to bail into her pit, so good heads up to get back to the fast lane.
Now watch this drag race here for Briscoe. He ducks to the inside and clearly gets him at the white line. That was awesome.
But guys, there may be a question mark as to whether it was entirely fair what Ryan Briscoe did. I'm here with Barry Wanzer, and Barry, you did have a chance to talk to the tech officials to get a ruling from upstairs. Have they given you an answer yet?
We haven't had an answer yet, but he's behind us on track. We'll see how the restart plays out.
Here's what happened, fellas, and Ryan Briscoe actually said it on the radio. He was coming out, he had and we've shown the steering wheel before, the pit limiter that limits the amount of speed. His thumb slipped off of it, and that was the rocket ship that I was referring to. So it'll be interesting to see where he restarts.
So does that mean he was speeding as he crossed the line?
But did he get caught speeding?
Exactly.
That's like, you can speed if you don't get caught.
Which is a great thing.
Honest officer, I was simply, my thumb fell off the button, that's why.
Well, the cleanup continues at the scene of the crash of Alex Lloyd, who has brought out yet another caution here at Twin Ring Motegi in the Indy Japan 300. The 2010 Indy Japan 300 has basically given a battle between teammates Helio Castroneves and Ryan Briscoe. They've run close on the racetrack, and they have battled each other getting into and off of pit lane. But right now, Helio is the leader of the race. He's led 107 laps, and Briscoe has led 32. The only other leader was Rafa Matos, who was out front for 15 laps after a caution period in which he did not pit. There's Briscoe running third behind Dario. As we await the determination of whether he goes in front of or stays behind Franchitti.
Or whether his thumb slipping off the button is going to produce any other penalty. It's
still cleaning up the debris from the Alex Lloyd crash. There were, of course, he carries the Boy Scouts of America colors for Dale Coyne Racing, and there were more than 400 Boy Scouts from Japan that were attending this race also, and sorry to see their driver, Alex Lloyd, drop out of competition. Now remember what happened to Ryan Briscoe here last year. In for a pit stop. Everything was looking very well for him, and then suddenly coming off of pit road.
And it wasn't just a pit